Fans, I knew you'd come. Hey guys, how's it going? This is Nate the Effing Great, of course, here from the Squared Circle Podcast. Of course, as always, on Spreaker.com, iTunes, Player.fm, PodDirectory.com, Stitcher.com, TuneIn Radio, IW Nerd, as well as Satchel Podcast Player and Mr. NTG1990 on the YouTube. And of course, to our sponsors, ProWrestlingCrate.com and AJ'sBelts.com. Check them out, guys. They are awesome. So, this is actually going to be a very special kind of episode because I'm going to be discussing the spectacle, the most interesting event to have happened in wrestling, and that being Total Nonstop Deletion. Matt Hardy's brainchild came to life and came to fruition last night from Cameron, North Carolina, as he presented Total Nonstop Deletion, which was basically Matt Hardy creating a booking gold, in all honesty. This was a beautiful show. It was really good, and I'm just going to give you guys a little bit of my take on it, as well as tell you guys some of the matches that happened last night at Total Nonstop Deletion. We kicked off with the Broken Hardys, of course, coming out, announcing what the matches were basically going to be, as well as Matt Hardy proclaiming that King Maxwell was going to make his in-ring debut last night. And who would come out? Rockstar Spud. Spud would come out, and he would say he's tired of the Broken Hardys, he's tired of Rebby, he's tired of Senior Benjamin, he's tired of Maxwell taking his TV time away, and he basically says, I want to be the guy who dethrones King Maxwell. I want to be the one that stretches him apart and just beats him down like a stuff pick. You know, basically he's just saying he wants to beat up a little baby. Very interesting choice, but in all honesty, you'll understand. So this turned into a no disqualification matchup. King Maxwell against Rockstar Spud to kick off the night. Senior Benjamin used the taser on Rockstar Spud's spine, and King Maxwell covers him for the 1, 2, 3 and gets the victory. King Maxwell is now 2-0 in his wrestling career. He was undefeated in a independent show, and now he is undefeated in TNA Impact Wrestling. This is actually kind of interesting, to say the least. So King Maxwell picks up the victory, and Rockstar Spud, it would not be the last that we've seen of him tonight. So it's going to be interesting to see how this kind of plays out going forward. We go into another matchup in which we see Sienna having an open challenge. And basically, the winner of that open challenge would be the number one contender for the Knockouts Championship. And the person that would challenge Sienna would be ODB, former Knockouts, former TNA Tag Team Champion, TNA Knockouts Tag Team Champion, I should say. Came out and accepted the challenge against Sienna. This was a good matchup between the two of them. It was great to see ODB again. She is very talented and very, very good in the ring. The match ending was chaotic, but it was also entertaining because referee gets knocked down. It seemed like we were going to see Sienna use the chair on ODB. ODB ducks, punches the chair in Sienna's face, covers, and who should come out? Vanguard 1. Vanguard 1 comes out, basically lies on top of the ring, and you see up in like his lights that he does, goes 1, 2, and the referee pulls out Vanguard 1 to say, I'm the official, I'm the one who makes the counts, and blah, 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 blah. Sienna uses the chair on ODB and gets the victory, so Sienna will be challenging for the Knockouts Championship in the future. one of two. It's either going to be Sienna versus Rosemary, or I think Sienna versus Jade. Because I'm thinking that they wouldn't have a heel versus heel. At least I think that's how they're doing it. I don't know. But post matchup, Vanguard 1 and ODB were kind of celebrating, and we got a picture of almost a nip slip from ODB. Holy cow! Basically, she grabs Vanguard 1, puts her to her breast, and just makes Vanguard 1 basically motorboat her. I'm just like, oh, wow. This, how many guys are probably, you can kind of finish that sentence by yourself. But it was a very good matchup, and great to see ODB back again. We see one of Jeff Hardy's personas, Itchweed, make his in-ring debut as well against a local talent. Now, the main thing I was concerned about with this was that Itchweed was going to just be another Jeff Hardy wannabe like it was with Willow, where he did the Whisper in the Wind, Twist of Fate, blah, blah, blah. But, in all honesty, this was it was an entertaining matchup, but it was different because you saw a lot more different moves from Itchweed, a.k.a. Jeff Hardy, than you would expect. We saw almost a 619 deal where a person was hung up on the second ropes, and then Itchweed does this kind of 619 drop kick, a bunch of dives, a bunch of kicks, shit like that, and it was very interesting to say the least. Itchweed gets the victory and was going to use the Weed Whacker on the opponent, but the opponent got away. A very interesting matchup, but all in all, I think it was very entertaining. I think it was really, really cool. We go into the world title matchup. TNA World Title, in which we see Lashley challenge Eddie Edwards, and another good matchup. I love the chemistry between Eddie Edwards and Lashley, this fast-paced style of Eddie Edwards against the powerhouse style of Lashley. All in all, this was a good matchup, but it got very chaotic in the end, in which we see Lashley and Eddie Edwards fight on the outside. We even saw Eddie Edwards get power-bombed through... He basically got powerbombed and tossed into fans by Lashley. It was crazy. We see Lashley hit a spear on Eddie Edwards on the outside through the door, and they're fighting out. Basically, it ends in a no contest, but they do not let the bell stop them. They were just going crazy. They're beating each other up, and this gets really chaotic later on between the two of them. And the main event was the Tag Team Apocalypto match for the World Tag Team titles of TNA. The Broken Hardys took on every single tag team that they could possibly find. And during this show, which is very interesting, the thing was that they had this hand-built volcano. And they were making this huge broadcast deal in which it was... where Matt Hardy had this premonition that they were going to prove that they were the best tag team around, and if they did not, the entire Hardy compound, as well as Cameron, North Carolina, would be deleted, and it would be deleted by this volcano. So they did a lot of news broadcasts, a lot of interesting things in between. A very good storyline building in this entire deal, because the volcano definitely plays a factor in the end. But you had teams like Decay, the Helms Dynasty, Rock and Roll Express, a lot of independent tag teams, the Bruisers, the Ugly Ducklings, I think were another one. A very interesting deal. It was very interesting. You got Decay. This was a very interesting matchup. Basically how it was is that it was an open invitation in which you had all tag teams were welcome. And you could only be eliminated by pinfall or submission, and falls count anywhere. So, very interesting matchup concept, and it got to be very chaotic. The match actually did not really start off as normal. Basically, the volcano started to shake, it started to rumble the place, and everybody's being told, oh, you gotta leave evacuate the area, because this volcano is going to blow. But they have the tag team wrestling go on regardless. What I really loved about this was how everybody looked great. The Helms Dynasty just looked fantastic. the Rock and Roll Express as well as the Hardy Boys got their kind of dream matchup in a way. DK, oh my gosh, DK just looked phenomenal. They definitely looked like they were just massive teams, a force to be reckoned with. And they definitely were, because they eliminated basically every team that was just even coming up to par. Because here's the thing, is that they actually went to the Hardy compound gate, and there were still tag teams still coming in. So basically, DK was just saying, you want in, you got to go through us. So basically, the doors would open. And what's really cool is that during the show, they didn't have like Jeremy Boraz or Christy Hemme or anybody like that make the ring announcement. It would just basically sounded like it was a video game voice saying, now entering the Hardy compound, the Bruisers, the Ugly Ducklings, they're naming all these teams. And it just basically sounds like it's a Street Fighter Mortal Kombat deal. I loved it. I thought it was awesome. Because now it made it seem like every single team was more badass than what they could have been. DK, again, just looked amazing. They were just almost destroying everybody. It looked like Crazy Steve broke this guy's neck and almost killed a guy. There was like a moment where one of the teams was just like, that dude is dead. Oh yeah, he's dead. We also saw Abyss double choke slam two guys, as well as, oh my gosh, this was actually the creepiest moment where he picks a rock up and he basically looks like a horror movie villain who's just saying, oh, it's heavy. And he just picks up the rock and he just slams it on the head of his opponent. It looked scary, but the camera angle looked awesome. And it made it seem like this guy just got murdered. And that team got eliminated. And we also see Rockstar Spud coming in, and he says, I got a partner. He's big, he's bad, he's going to, take everybody out, and blah, blah, blah. And who would it turn out to be? None other than formerly Hornswoggle. Swoggle himself came in, and he and Rockstar Spud were a team. It was a very interesting deal, but all in all, it was actually really cool to see that. The Helms Dynasty were basically triple teaming the Hardy Boys, in which we see, I think, Trevor Lee, Shane Helms, and, gosh, I feel bad that I don't know the final guy's name. But these guys were just destroying the Hardys, and there are a lot of moments where you would see, classic Broken Hardy brilliance, like Hardy basically calling on the boat Asgard to help break up a pinfall. And then Helms Dynasty started beating on the boat. We see the Lake of Reincarnation come in to play, where Matt Hardy just, punches Gregory Helms into the lake. And, oh God, we see I'm trying to remember who they were in WCW. That three-man team were in WCW that really nobody talks about too much. They're just almost like a Backstreet Dancer deal. And then I remember Helms basically saying, wait a minute, you're not Shannon, you're not Evan, and they could dance way better than you. Trevor Lee and the other guy just super kick him back into the lake. But then they go back to the Hardys, beat them down. We see a little bit of, oh my God, there was a new team in there that were really good. I'm trying to remember who they were. Oh man, I really should have had the notes for this one, because basically what happened later on in the match was that the Trevor Lee, the Helms Dynasty, eliminated Swoggle and Rockstar Spud after Spud basically took a pinfall victory, and then Swoggle hit a powerbomb as well as the Tadpole Splash, and then Trevor Lee eliminated him. And Rock and Roll Express would soon be eliminated after that. We see DK and the Helms Dynasty basically beat up the Broken Hardys. It was separated, so DK was taking out Brother Nero, and the Helms Dynasty were taken